Building sustainability for the future. That's the topic of today's conference. And what is the one thread, the one element in society right now that moves us faster into the future than any other industry? It's technology. Hi, attendees of the Odia Foundation Rebirth Conference. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Edgar Brown. I am a growth lead at On Deck for startup programs, and I appreciate you taking the time to learn about technology and the impact that you can have in terms of leveraging it towards personal, professional, and community development. Today, I'll spend some time sharing my story, how I've been able to move into the field of technology to leverage it throughout my own path, and then share some key takeaways that you can learn from and apply to make sure that you can have that same impact in your personal, professional, and community-driven lives. So let's start off with a little bit of my story. My time in technology starts off when I was in university. I was studying business and computer science at McGill University in Montreal, Canada. So why business and computer science? Well, the fact is, while previously those two things were quite separate, for business fields, you would have accounting, things like consulting, investment banking, etc. And that was a far cry from the tech world of building products, developing products, and launching products. But in today's age, those things are coming closer and closer together. Business employees need to leverage data management skills in order to make correct decisions. Everyone across industries uses online platforms for collaboration and teamwork like Google Drive, Microsoft Teams, Slack, Zoom, and others. And we all know that we're all present now on social media, and we see the role that it plays in our lives. That's why I decided to minor in computer science, so that I could understand the foundations that lie underneath the technology that surround us. And one of my key takeaways that I'd love to leave with you all for today is why it's so important to understand that, so that we can leverage it in every aspect of our life. So in this year, this brings us back to 2018, I had always been interested in technology, and so I was recommended by a family friend to spend a summer at Stanford to do a program in technology entrepreneurship. And that played an incredible role in my life, not only because of the school and the environment that it provided, but specifically its proximity to Silicon Valley and the mindset around innovation, the proximity to technology, and just the mindset that they had in terms of leveraging it towards making further impact. At the same time, I was still playing on the McGill varsity basketball team. And so I trained that whole summer, kind of splitting my time between classes, networking in Silicon Valley, and training to come to the team. So when I returned to McGill in my final year, things had changed. Instead of spending as much time as I could on the sport that I had grown up loving, I decided that I wanted to start a business instead, that I wanted to go full-time on my own technology business, because that was the fastest way that I thought that I was going to learn. But that brought things to a breaking point. Trying to balance 5 classes, starting a business, and varsity basketball was nearly impossible, and something had to break. And so after I skipped or had to miss a practice to participate in a startup competition, my coach called me up and said, "Hey, Edgar, you need to make a decision between staying on the team and leaving this technology and business stuff behind, at least for the time being, or you can leave the team and focus on this new passion of yours." And so it was an incredibly difficult decision to make, but I decided to leave the game that I had grown up playing and focus really on technology. Fast forward another 2 weeks, I was on a plane to Toronto to participate in the selection weekend for a program called Next 36, which is a entrepreneurial initiative that tries to develop and support the next generation of Canadian entrepreneurs. And in this case, I was accepted to the program to build a business called FYT that later became FitDrive. So once I finished up at McGill, I went full-time into that accelerator program. It was myself and two other co-founders, and it was incredible. We were able to learn. We were able to learn what it was like to launch a business, a technology-driven business from the ground up, and all of the learnings and experiences that went into that. Some of those include being featured in Forbes, launching multiple versions of our product, getting paying customers, and having tons of different media features, as well as building a network within the tech ecosystem. But that comes with both ups and downs. As you may imagine, entrepreneurship is not easy, but it offers an incredible opportunity to learn. And specifically for me, I fell in love with the marketing side of technology. I participated in this online course called Demand Curve because we were currently struggling with our marketing efforts. So I decided to invest in myself, to learn a new skill, and to really double down. And so that brings us to just about the end of 2020 when we were in the middle of the pandemic. Our business, which ended up being called FitDrive, was a mobile app that helped personal trainers manage their clients online, was going through a lot of turmoil, especially because the fitness industry was changing so much at that point in time. Because we were a platform for personal trainers and gyms were closing, personal trainers were being laid off, and things had become a lot more difficult, I decided that it was time to transition. The interesting thing here is that many people would consider that a failure. You don't start a business with the intention to transition out after 2 years or a year and a half. You really want to go the whole way. But the interesting thing is that in technology, those experiences are only assets. The learnings, the skills that you develop, the people that you make, the people that you meet only open more doors down the line and put you in a position where you have the opportunity to try new things and get exposed to opportunities that you would never have access to, all using technology as that gateway into the space. And so because I had decided to invest into my skill set in terms of marketing, and one of the accelerator programs that we happened to go through was actually called the On Deck Founder Fellowship. I had an amazing experience through that, and then I ended up joining the team on the growth side. So to give you some context about what On Deck does, On Deck is building a modern education institution for people in tech. That basically means that we have these virtual programs that bring together people in the tech ecosystem who want to achieve specific goals, and that usually breaks down into 3 categories. We help people start companies, like the Founder Fellowship that I went through, so bringing together a community of entrepreneurs that are looking to build. We help people join companies, so those are people looking to find high impact roles at fast growing tech startups. And number 3, we help people level up within their current roles. If you think about designers or chief of staff or engineers, all of these roles that surround the technology ecosystem, we bring together the best community of those individuals together to learn and grow alongside each other. And so I joined On Deck in January on the growth team. At that point in time, we were 40 employees, and we scaled super quickly within 10 months. So to this date, we're now end of October, we're now 220 employees and 20 on the growth team, whereas the growth and marketing team were just 2 people when I joined. So an incredible amount of growth, an incredible amount of change, and an incredible amount of impact that I personally was able to make as I moved from an entry-level growth marketer to leading growth for the startup's business unit, taking on more responsibility and being able to make an impact. So, bringing that back to the focus of this specific talk, which is how can you leverage technology to make personal, professional, and community impact? And that really comes from the three things that technology enables you to do. Number one, solve problems. Number two, create opportunity. And number three, bring people together. So let's start with the first one, solving problems. At the end of the day, technology is an industry in which the goal is to solve problems. If you think about a manual process that you've experienced or a problem that you faced in your own life, building an app, a website, a product or service can be an amazing way to actually solve that problem. And you can apply that in all three areas of your life. In your personal life, let's say you're looking to budget to improve your financial skills. Well, you can build a simple web app to track your expenses and improve there. In your professional life, you can solve business processes. Let's say a small business is doing a lot of back-end accounting services and they're using pen and paper to do that. An application that helps them streamline their operations can allow them to save a ton of time and create an amazing amount of impact. And finally, in terms of community development, solving problems to, let's say, a nonprofit's operations can help it scale, can help it provide more access to more individuals, and at the end of the day, make the world a better place. And so that problem-solving ability of technology not only applies for the space itself, but also the people that are included in it. And the more that you think of yourself, the word entrepreneur is actually best related to problem solver. You don't need to be doing that on your own. You could be doing that within a business, working for someone. But as long as you keep that mindset of problem solving, of searching for a better way to do things, then you can leverage technology to create impact. The second one is opportunity. And this one is super clear. There's more demand than ever for people in tech to create impact and be compensated for that. All of the biggest tech companies in the world are constantly expanding and looking for young builders or leaders like you guys to take on roles at their companies. And the most fascinating thing is that age is not a barrier to getting started and creating impact. So if you think about the role that I've played over the last year, almost year at On Deck, I came in basically after the core of my professional experience being building FitDrive, building my own startup. But at the end of the day, I'm 24 years old and was able to come into a company that was scaling super quickly, create impact, be recognized for it, and quickly move up within the company. And that comes because of the nature of technology. Because it changes so quickly, the best people who are positioned to create impact are actually the fastest learners, not necessarily the most experienced person. And that happens because whether it's coding an app and the actual languages behind it changing so quickly, or the digital marketing space and how quickly different channels come up, like TikTok, for example, or the fact that Apple has now removed a lot of the tracking considerations that Facebook and Instagram use for their ads, which means that marketers will have to be more and more creative and leverage new channels and new offerings. That makes it an industry that is positioned for young people who want to come in, invest in themselves, whether it's an online course like I did originally, or YouTube videos, books, etc., and then go out and build and learn by doing personal projects and creating a portfolio that you can leverage either to start your next business or to join one and create impact right away. The last part about opportunity here is truly that Silicon Valley, where you normally had to go in order to access the industry that is technology, especially at its highest level, has now gone global. You can connect with people anywhere in the world, and most technology roles are now remote. And so it doesn't matter where you are, it only matters if you can get the job done, learn quickly, and create impact right away. And that brings me to my last point. Technology helps bring people together. And there are tons of examples of this, social media being the first one, or even this conference. The fact that you can have speakers come in and speak to you, like myself, based in Toronto in Canada, but people from all over the world that are now just a screen away. And the same applies for everything in tech. If you're looking for customers for a business, you can reach them through online channels. If you're looking to hire, you can hire people online, you can work with them remotely. And in fact, the entire way that the job search works now is by putting yourself out there, by personal branding online, by building projects, by speaking about them. And it flips the job search on its head, and people are actually now looking for you because you're present online by leveraging technology, as opposed to the other way around. You can do this through communities as well, like On Deck for specific instances, or accelerator programs like Next 36. But at the end of the day, technology has brought the world closer together, and that's something that we can leverage, both for our personal development, for developing skills, for our professional development, making impact and finding new roles, and for our community development. If we're trying to make impact, if we're trying to bring speakers from another corner of the world, we can always think about leveraging technology to bring the world closer together and to bring us closer to channeling our impact towards improving the world around us. And so, bringing everything to a close, technology is a key enabler for building sustainability for the future. And that can happen through three ways: by solving problems, by creating opportunity, and by bringing the world closer together. And as young leaders, as long as we set our sights on leveraging those three things and diving in headfirst with a growth mindset, we can approach this industry like any other goal, succeed, and improve the lives around us with the tools that we have. Thanks so much for listening. If you happen to have any questions about myself, about my backstory into tech, or about On Deck and what we do, if you're interested in one of our programs, feel free to follow me on Twitter at @IamEdgarBrown, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks so much, and take care.